This is All in Politics on the All In Network. It's the Real to Real, the Jump Off, with your host, Walton Damage and Rob Cooper Jr. Music by DNA Beats. And now, All in Politics.
Good evening. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Real to Real, the Jump Off, the All in Politics on the All In Network platform. I'm your host, Walt the Damager, alongside my co-host.
At Rob Cooper on Instagram, not Twitter. What's
How you
going on,
doing, man?
family?
Oh,
Oh, man, I can't
I can't
complain.
call it, man. We got a good show tonight. We're bringing one of our longtime friends to the show back, Johndi Harrell, from the TCRC Community Healing Center, in which he's the founder and executive director. How you doing tonight, good brother?
I'm doing fine, my brother. It's a brand new day in America, and I'm feeling very good about it.
That's good. That's good. So I guess to jump things off, Rob, you want to usher us into this new dawn of a new day and the trash finally being taken out?
Well, that's right. We're recording this. It is January the 21st. Yesterday, we had a peaceful transfer of power with the inauguration of Joseph R. Biden and first new VP, Vice President Kamala Harris were both sworn in, and they took the oath to be president and vice president of the United States of America. Looking forward, man. And tonight we're and moving forward, we will no longer mention the past president or like thereof
The
will be
past
referred
administration.
to as the past administration. We will no longer refer to that name. And in fact, we're starting to see that even in mainstream media, which I give them credit for. And actually, I give them a lot of the blame for what happened. I mean, they only gave the Joker, close to $1 billion worth of free advertising and free earned media. But we're looking ahead. Joe Biden already, got right to work. I think with the pandemic, a lot of the pomps and circumstances of the inauguration, like the balls and things like that, could not happen. But they made things. They made things right. You know what I mean? And I think this virtual, as we saw with the Democratic National Convention, along with this virtual inauguration, I think this is the new normal, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see.
So before we stop talking about Trump altogether, we have to talk about what he did on the first day of Biden's presidency. There has never been a president who did not attend the inauguration of the previous president.
Right.
What he did
Since like 1830 something, I think was the last time that happened.
What he did was a totally bitch move.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. What it really reminded me of is back when we were kids, all right? And you're on the blacktop. And there's always a kid who got brand new Chucks, or he's got brand new basketball. He don't really play that good, but his mom and dad got a little money. So you let him play because he brings a brand new basketball.
That's right. That's right.
But when the real players come and the real games start, His ass is on the sideline.
Yep,
That's right.
that's
So what
right.
does he do?
Take his ball and
Admits,
go home.
takes his ball and go home. And that's
That's right.
exactly what Trump did. He took his ball and went
Mhm.
home.
That's right.
He really
Well,
showed who he was to the American people.
well,
And
I'm gonna
all
tell
those who
you.
supported him all those years have to say, what the hell was I doing?
Right.
Yes. Well, I'm actually gonna take another angle on this. And again, this is at Rob Cooper Jr.'s opinion. Hit me up on Instagram if you agree or disagree, or write a comment underneath this video on YouTube. But I'm going to come at another three. I don't think the Joker was invited. And it was mentioned a few times. As you can see, when we get into the presidents, and we look at these leaders, that's a little fraternity there. And me being a fraternity guy myself, you know, I've heard people say, especially when it was real evident when you saw the video with President
All the
Barack
presidents there.
Obama,
Okay.
uh, President George Bush, and former President Bill Clinton. Someone made the comment. They said Trump will never be accepted into that fraternity or club, is what they said to it. And I absolutely agree with that. So I'm going to come out and say, it was definitely a punk move on his end, but I don't believe that he was invited, because he just ain't built like that, for real, for real. And it's another thing too. I find interesting, if you notice, since we're talking about what happened yesterday, you notice he didn't even wait until 12 o'clock to leave. He left at 8 o'clock. So they told him, "We want you out of there, out of this crib, first thing in the morning." And that's what he did. He
That
got out.
probably gave,
That looked like an eviction to me, my
it
brother,
probably gave him
as
enough
opposed
time
to
to
a
fumigate.
punk move.
It
But
probably
according
gave
to
Correct. And they
history,
and they paid 500. They had to pay a $500,000 to do a deep cleaning. So they needed that time to do that deep cleaning in time enough for the Bidens to move in. So again, my theory is I believe he was evicted on the low.
well, it
and
couldn't
and
happen
I
to a better
guarantee. Oh yeah. Oh
couldn't
yeah.
happen to
You
a better
won't.
person. I'm telling you.
And you won't. I don't think we will see him ever again. That's why I don't think we have to ever mention his name, because I don't think his name is ever going to come up. Now, of course, with the impeachment trial, they're going to have to take care of that, and he and some other folks will be held accountable. Um, I don't know if you heard today. Mitch McConnell had mentioned that he's is asking let me correctly say his name, minority leader Mitch McConnell, uh, recommended to the new majority leader Chuck Schumer, and and of course the Speaker of the House, Miss Nancy Pelosi, if he can they want to delay the impeachment hearing at least a month. Now, I'm coming from this angle again. I don't believe that Mitch McConnell is doing the past administration any favors by delaying. I think by that delays, yes, that gives the guy who was in the past administration, that gives him an opportunity to lawyer up and try to put his defense in place. But that also allows for the prosecution to gather as much evidence against this guy. So when it comes down to convicting, there's no question. There's without any reasonable doubt that this man was guilty of attempting to overthrow the government of the United States.
And it also allows the prosecution to gather evidence on Republican congressmen and senators who were complicit in the Capitol uprising. You're not going
That's
to tell
right.
me that wasn't a well-planned operation that involved members who are currently sitting in Congress.
And I want to say their names: Josh Hawley, senator from Missouri, and Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas. We want to say their names, and we want to say their names often,
Yes.
because they are now on the books. I did read a story today that I think it was 7 Democratic senators have reported them to the ethics committee,
Ethics.
the ethics committee. So we believe that's step one. It's going to be a rough ride for those two guys, and
As
you
it
know,
should be.
yeah. Let's talk about that again. I just want to open the floor on those two guys. You said it should be. Why?
Not only did they lie to the American public, they supported Trump every step of the way. They knew from the door that there was no possible way the lies he was telling about the election, about the count, Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump Jr., they're all complicit. If you're talking about the plot to overthrow the government, all of those components went into it. The white supremacists across the country who are true believers, they believe the rhetoric and the lies fostered by these people. So how can you accuse and convict the perpetrators and leave out the planners?
That's right.
They're
That's right.
complicit, and they need to be tried right along with everyone else who was involved. Donald Trump can be impeached, but they need to be tried and put out of Congress.
That's right.
Indeed.
Well, as Nancy Pelosi just said, Pelosi said they will be investigating them all, and they won't just be put out of Congress. She said that they will be prosecuted
Oh,
Right. I
to the
think that
fullest extent of the law.
I believe Fox News should have a part in that as well. They were
yes,
the
Well,
platform. They were the platform used to help
yes.
perpetuate this help hatred and vitriol, in which they sacked the Capitol. You mean they're not talking about the Blue Lives Matter now? What happened to Blue Lives Matter when they killed the cop? Black Lives
that's right.
Matter was out there,
That's right.
and it was all Blue Lives Matter. So it was going back and forth. Now
Well,
the rhetoric has toned down a whole lot.
well, I
Yes.
thought the funny thing, and Fox is really, I mean, somebody said, when they say when you digging a ditch or digging yourself in a hole, sometimes it's just good to just maybe shut up and stop digging. Joe Biden, in his address yesterday, his inaugural address, he mentioned that his one of his commitments over these next 4 years, and this is the first time I ever heard a United States president say this. Not even our good brother, President Barack Obama. He said that we are going to fight and take down white supremacy, racist white supremacy, and domestic terrorism. He ain't say nothing about Al Qaeda. He didn't say nothing about ISIS. He said white supremacy and domestic terrorism. So, what did our friends from Fox News say, or State TV, whatever you want to call them? They went on and said, "Oh, he's taking he's taking a shot at white supremacy. He must be talking about us." I never thought I would ever hear that in my 52 years of being on this planet. That actually white people would actually all go on commercial television and defend and defend the principles of white supremacy. You can't make this up, man. You cannot make this up. I mean, they didn't condemn white supremacy. They didn't say, "Yeah, we agree with the president. We need to take down white supremacy." Rand Paul was also, who's a sitting senator from Kentucky. He was also sitting there. They were complaining that Joe Biden said that he's going to take down white supremacy. Wow.
Because they realize that white supremacy is their base,
Yes.
and without white supremacists, they couldn't get elected. It's that
Right.
simple.
That's their cash cow. We've always talked about
Wow. Wow. So we're there. So we're there. And let me be straight with the public and those who are listening. I'm okay with it. I'm good. Wherever, just let me know. How you want it. How you want it. Let us know. And honestly, I prefer that you give it to me straight like that, so we know how to deal with you in return. Because just remember, for every action, there's a reaction. So if you want to be on your airways, Fox News and Mr. Rupert Murdoch and stuff like that, you want to, I mean, I give you credit. You've been promoting white supremacy for 30 years since you've been on air. But this was the first time I heard you actually be so explicit about it. And so, hey, for every action, there's a reaction. And, you know, you're going to be in a lot of hot water because, there's a lot, 400,000 people who died with COVID. And a lot of people died because they were listening to your so-called news station, which really, if those who don't know, Fox News, and you can go look this up, Fox News is not a true news station. If you look at, you Google it, you look it up, Fox News is actually referred to themselves as a entertainment
Company.
company. They are
Hmm.
not. They are not a news station. The Fox News is a brand name, but they admitted I think on some court documents or something that they're an entertainment station. But regardless, you're putting out information like that, okay? And people look at and you put out information that possibly could have caused some of the lives of some people. You know what I mean? Listening to you not wearing a mask and
Well,
things
not
like that.
possibly, definitely.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. You're telling people, you're encouraging people not to wear a mask. You're encouraging bar owners. I saw, a couple of weeks ago, a bar owner in New York. They were sitting there condoning after Governor Cuomo, put out an order to close down to try to slow down because all the New York hospitals were filled with COVID patients. They had no more beds for any more COVID patients. So the way to mitigate that is to shut down the bars. That's what Governor Cuomo, put out an order to do that. And here, Fox News is encouraging these clowns to stay open and continue to serve alcohol and continue to party and continue to super spread the COVID-19, virus. You know what I mean? No regard for public health or public safety. And I think, like you said, Walt, I think there's a lot of pieces in this conspiracy that need to be held accountable.
Well, my take is on it that we're living in a corporation, so we're witnessing the destabilization of a corporation.
Hmm.
America lost that constitutional value back in 1871, but
Hmm.
that's another topic for another time. But the days we're living in right now, and like Mr. Harrell said, we got a guy over here that like making not fake moves, bitch ass moves. Let's call it
Yeah, yeah,
what it
yeah.
is.
Yes.
You know. So now it's about to pay the piper. It's time to pay the piper.
Hmm.
People died. They tried to take over the Constitution. They didn't try to take over the Constitution. They desecrated the Constitution, stealing laptops, defecating on tables, peeing in corners, and doing all these atrocious acts. Where they try to put that personification on the Black Lives Matter movement. And here you have it. These
That's
guys went
right.
in there and did
That's
everything they
right.
expected on everybody else.
That's right.
And my question is, where were they yesterday?
Let's talk about that. Let's deal with that.
When there's
Where
20,
were they yesterday?
when there's 25,000 National Guard, they're primed and ready. I read statements that white supremacists were saying, we're going to come to the Capitol in such numbers that no
Right.
standing army can
That's what they
contain us.
said. That's what they said.
But when they were the only ones there with weapons, when they were in overwhelming numbers, they talked a lot of shit.
Yes, they did. Yes, they
But
did.
yesterday, they were invisible. And
They
over
went
the
that.
weekend, they're supposed to be in 50 state capitals.
Yes,
Where
they
were they?
were.
Right.
It was no. Yeah, and that's what I told you,
They're
including their
cowards.
leader, including their leader. They was given an order to get out of town. They told their leader to get out first thing in the morning, and they told the other ones, you better not come close. They've had that perimeter pushed out to probably the closest that they can get to. And any of you people, I know y'all know what's up, but any of our listeners know anything about DC, they probably got pushed all the way out to Southeast DC. So I don't think that was a good idea
No, no.
Right.
either. Yeah,
They were trying
so
to
it
go
was
down
kind
that.
of like, and I'm gonna be straight up too. Um, Whoever ordered the guards, I'm just gonna come out and say straight up, When I saw on TV, there was a lot of black guards in there. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of black guards in there, and they didn't look like they was the ones to be played with.
Mm.
So, Mr. QAnon, whoever you are, hiding behind, some veil. Um, Good move on your part. Stand back and stand down. And they definitely stood down that time. They didn't want none of that smoke. And
No smoke.
you know, no, no, no. And Joe Biden pretty much put it out there. There's a new sheriff in town. And also, if you saw the inauguration, and let's pull out some of those cowards. Ted Cruz, he had a mask on yesterday, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And guess what? He won't have a mask on from here on out since that executive order on all federal grounds, you are mandated to wear a
Wear a
mask.
mask.
So
Right.
them fools will be wearing a mask. Them QAnon senators and them QAnon House of Representative members, they will be married. They will be wearing masks tomorrow. I guarantee you that. And from here on out, until Joe Biden tells them they can take their mask off. Holla at me. Holla at me.
We also have to speak to the abject stupidity of the white supremacists, the Capitol revolters who came to commit a crime and didn't wear a mask. How
Yeah.
Didn't
can
wear a
you
mask.
desecrate the Capitol and don't wear a mask?
Hold up, but they live streamed it. They,
Yes,
Hey,
you
listen.
know, live
Hey,
with
listen.
live streamed.
selfies.
I'll give you guys one better than that. They went down there for a purpose. They went down there for a cause. What did they leave with?
Nothing. They didn't
Nothing.
stop the steal. They didn't stop. If let me just tell you this, and I'll use your terms on this. If they went down there to stop the steal, then the presidency was just basically taken from them easier than like a kid taking candy from a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they got punked down by the world. They got punked down. They showed the world how stupid, how idiotic. Um, right now, and I think let's talk about Joe Biden. He's got a lot of repair because if I'm a foreign adversary, if I'm Iran, if I'm Russia, if I'm China, if I'm North Korea, I'm looking. I'm saying, man, United States got a bunch of punks. They got a bunch of punks. You know what I mean? In that country, and that's exactly
Well,
what they look like.
well, the perception is disorganization,
Yup. Yup.
can't think,
No.
um, no unity in
Nope.
in in thought or action, and inner turmoil. And anytime you see inner turmoil in your enemy, that's the time to attack or the
Right.
time to plan how you can best move them away from what you want them to do. You know, and Trump and the Republicans are not only complicit in trying to overthrow the government, but exposing weakness to our external enemies.
Hmm.
And that's treasonous when you really look at it.
That's right. That's right. And only thing they did was got their guy impeached again. This time he will be convicted, which is cool because it gets us off the hook. Probably as Walt mentioned. I don't know if we were on air or not, but I know Walt had mentioned that we're on the hook. For Secret Service to continue to protect him and his family. But it's my understanding if he's convicted
He
and
loses all
impeached,
that.
he forfeits
Yes.
his pension. He forfeits
Yes.
all that. So that's going to expose him to even more danger. So he's in a bad situation right now.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be associated with him. I tell you, I don't know if you guys have been following, but even there's been some reports out there about Mar-a-Lago, about that not being a true residence, or they don't have the
Yes.
zoning, I guess, for that to be a
Yes.
residence for more than 21 days.
He's not going to be
Which
able to live there.
Right, he's not going to be able to live there. But here's the other caveat in that is that was the address that that he used to vote, and he voted. He was on TV voting.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, if that's not a true residence, then he in effect committed voter
Fraud.
fraud
That's voter fraud. Yep.
when he voted, he and his wife. So I mean, there's so many crimes that this bull is going to have to face and be held accountable for. But to your point, my prediction is what you guys said. I think a lot of these guys who are now standing on Congress right now, if I'm Josh Hawley, or if I'm Josh Hawley, or Ted Cruz, or the rest of those QAnon clowns, y'all better lawyer up. That's all I'm telling you. You better lawyer up because the American people are coming for you. So that deep state, Walt, I'll never forget you called me about this. That deep state that y'all was talking about, you about to find out what that deep state really is. And that deep state, when it has the backing of 81 million Americans who are gonna be backing them up, there's no telling what limits they can do when they're going after you. So it was a bad choice, but I mean, it's time for these guys who experience white privilege all their lives that they take a hit. They locked up our good brother Shaka Fatad um, for doing far less than what these guys did. What? Last I checked, Shaka Fatah didn't try to overthrow the government. Last
Not at
I
all.
checked, Shaka Fatah didn't intermingle with foreign adversaries. So last I checked, Shaka Fatah didn't try to oppress a whole race of people while he was in office, or try to kill a whole race of people by mismanaging pandemics and things like that. So the crimes and if he's doing the time, and I don't even know how many years he's doing, but whatever time he's doing, Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley should triple that, in my opinion, because the crime that they committed was triple worse than what Shaka Fatah committed.
Indeed.
And when the seats are vacated by the Congresspeople and the senators who are complicit, that's a whole nother opportunity to acquire more seats to maintain the majority on
Right,
past the
right.
the 50-50 in the Senate and a larger majority in the House.
Right. And I think the only way that, in wrapping this up, one last topic I really want to talk about is some things that I personally, and you guys can talk about what you want to see. We'll go around robin. Some things that I want to see, because as we can see, this I think the Constitution was under assault, and I really believe that the Constitution and democracy was fractured over the last 4 years. So we got to figure out ways to shore up the pillars of democracy first and foremost, because without that, no government programs, no safety net programs will really survive until we have a true democracy in place. And that's one thing I would credit the past administration, the leader of the last administration. He did expose and poke holes in a lot of pieces, the things that are wrong with our democracy. So a couple things that I would suggest. Number one, immediately we need to make in the first 100 days, we need to make a proposal for the District of Columbia to become a state.
Yes,
Number and also on the territory of Puerto Rico,
Puerto
a
Rico.
state. At least those two. If it was me, I'd make all of the territory. I think it's seven. All
7
seven
yes.
states. But at least to start with things, Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia should be made states immediately. That will add at least 4 senators and probably at least six new members of U.S. Congress. The other piece too, I think we need to look at expanding the Supreme Court.
In court.
Although I'm one who really traditionally believes in the Constitution, but quite frankly, there is nothing in the Constitution that states that you
Yes.
need to have 9 Supreme Courts, or any number of Supreme Courts. And since the Supreme Courts have been weaponized, or excuse me, all courts have been weaponized by one party, I think it's time to expand that out just so that we can get balance. I'm not going to say, I don't care how many, maybe 2, maybe 4. I don't even want to be greedy, but I just think we need to do enough just to balance it out. I'm okay with a 12 man and woman court. Six, maybe 6 conservatives and 6 liberals. You know what I mean? Just something to balance it out. You know what I mean? So those are the things, things that I like to see. Brother Harold, what would you like to see in the
Well,
first 100 days?
I definitely agree with both of those points. Um, I would like to see more than 12. I feel that the Republicans, when they were in power, they did everything necessary to maintain their power, and they thwarted all legislative activities um, throughout Obama's administration and past. So, what I would like to see is Joe Biden is intent on being the president of all the people. I think that's impossible because you have 70 million people who are never going to accept you. So stop fucking with them. Leave them. They are never going to acknowledge you as the rightful president, especially with a black vice president.
That's right.
Cater to the folks who put you in office. You owe a huge debt to black America that has never been properly addressed. That should be primary on the agenda. Without South Carolina, without Pennsylvania, Michigan, you wouldn't be president. So
Mhm.
focus on the urban areas that need total economic makeovers. When we're talking about a um, FDR FDR style job program that builds infrastructure first in our communities, that's where it's needed the most. I would like to see real change in the struggle against mass incarceration, employment, housing. Focus on the areas of the country that has traditionally been overlooked, and that's Black America.
Yeah, that's definitely. I can definitely concur with both of you guys. We definitely need state representation from Puerto Rico and DC. We definitely need a real substantial occurrence to happen with the prison reform system. I mean, real change, nothing that somebody's just going to speak out and make bullet points, but don't really get behind the agenda. We definitely need to take a look into Medicare for all, so we can get this universal health care together. It may be some tweaks that Obamacare can use, but these senators need to get together and figure out a formula that it'll be beneficial to all patrons of the U.S. Um, Employment, we definitely need to take care of that because there's too many people losing jobs that have lost jobs, and I mean, the mental health component is also a big part. So with all that entailed, I mean, we really need to get on the ball. And just because Biden won, it doesn't mean that we get our foot off the gas. We should put both feet on the gas, and make sure that these things are adhered to because we put them in office to do such.
And one thing I really believe needs to change: the pardon process has traditionally been something that's really ramped up at the end of a president's term. That should be ongoing. We have revolutionaries who were in prison during COINTELPRO, bring Assata Shakur home, free Matula Shakur. We have Black Panthers, revolutionaries, and many black and brown activists, um, Leonard Peltier, who've been incarcerated for literally decades. Start the pardon process at the beginning of the Biden years and accelerate it all the way through. Have the Justice Department look at those who are unjustly imprisoned across the board and begin the process of freedom. Imagine all the leaders who are imprisoned who could impact our country if they were free. Bring Assata Shakur home. That should be a mandate for the Biden administration.
Amen. And you're listening to All In Politics with on All In Network. Uh, this is a great discussion that we've had tonight. And if you like if you like the discussion that you heard tonight, I want you to go over to our YouTube channel and type in the All In Network. And over there we have some other great content. We have sports content from our producer and founder of the All In Network, my son Elijah Cooper. He and Mike Baskin do an outstanding job breaking down the NFL. The NFL playoffs are coming up. Of course, the NBA. That's kind of like their gold standard. You take any of your questions, your comments, give you information on fantasy football, daily fantasy football, sports betting, and all. And then you can even talk about my dumbass Eagles, but we're not going to get into that because I'll get upset. We'll be on for another hour. But go to the All In Network on YouTube, and Walt, when they get over there, man, what should they do?
Yo, we're gonna take another swing at this, man. I've been really thinking about it. I think we've been too docile on the last time I told them what to do. This time, I want you to go out there and grab a friend, or grab a couple of them, get them all together, round them up, make sure they have the appropriate device to do such. Kick them in the ass and tell them to push that damn subscribe button.
That's right. Hit that subscribe button, and once you hit, and of course, like us. But once you hit that subscribe button, every time you get some powerful either sports or political discussion that come on our YouTube channel, you will get an alert and you can tune in immediately. But not only should you like, not only should you subscribe, but we also want you to share our program because we believe that we have information that the masses can use. And again, we like to give the voice to the voiceless. This is not corporate media. This is not the nonsense this is not Fox News. This is not fake news. We're going to give it to you real. And that's why
This is not your mom and dad TV show.
that's right. That's why the subtitle of this program is called Real to Real. We're going to keep it real. Ain't no fake news here. But won't you give us some last thoughts and get us up out of here?
I will do this, but first I want to usher the platform to Mr. Johndi so he can give out his information, how people get in touch with him, and his podcast as well that he has weekly.
So on Instagram, hit me up at TCRC Philly. We're always sharing content, and my Facebook is Ross RASJ Johndi Harrell, and every Monday at 7:30 I do a show called News, Community, Culture, and Context, which looks at the media, looks at the news in the context of our community and our culture, because so many times we allow ourselves to be influenced by mainstream media and we don't really decipher what's being said, why it's being said, and how it impacts our community and our culture.
Well said. And we appreciate you for coming again on the show. We'll love to have you again in the future for more presentations.
Most definitely. Give me a call and I'll be here.
You have it. So there you have it. We had, like I said, this was a great show. We definitely want to keep everybody in tune and updated on the latest and greatest of what's going on worldwide. Our job is to inform those that do not have the information correct and want to hear what's going on behind the scenes with government and politics and just overall social things that's going on that people just don't have tangible opportunities to get to. So we try to provide that platform for those that are not able to get to them. So once again, this has been a great episode of the Real to Jump Off. This is the All In Politics platform on an All In Network screen. And with that, we bid you adieu and be well.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.